Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about The Columnist, which is a Dutch black comedy horror film about a newspaper columnist slash novelist who gets so sick of the hate mail and the hate comments and the overall toxicity she gets from people online just for having opinions and for writing her columns, and decides to basically become a serial killer that kills them one by one.
Yep.
It is a very funny, dark comedy. It's kind of like a cross between like Falling Down and Serial Mom.
Yeah.
Not as cheesy as Serial Mom, but definitely got that same vibe because you have like the main character is also a mom and she has a daughter that's also a writer, and like there's definitely that like is my mom a killer thing going on.
Right. Like the worry that your mom about the killing mom is actually a bit more serious.
Yeah.
As opposed to Serial Mom, where it's just sort of like, well, we just watched Kathleen Turner kill a bunch of people.
And the comparison to Falling Down really comes down to you're watching a character just kind of just get so tired of everything they're going through, they just lose it. You know, kind of like Falling Down.
Yep.
It is very much a bitter social commentary about the way we talk about anything in the modern day online.
And the way that we respond to comments online.
Yes, as well as the way we treat women. That's also a huge component of it. There's a reason why the columnist is a woman in this story, because
totally.
While a male columnist might get similar vitriol, the extent might not be as intense.
Yeah, it
varies.
It varies. It's also one of those really, like, you know, in the real world, the internet comments are really fucked up. Can be a really fucked up scenario because what you've got is you've got this really weird aspect of society all hitting the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, you've got outrage, you've got anger, you've got reactionary anger, and then you have the gendered aspects of everything.
Yeah.
And those all hit simultaneously in this huge, gross explosion. And it's awful, and there's really no answer.
No, yeah.
There's no good way of dealing with this.
And that's one of the things the movie grapples with, is how there isn't a good answer and there isn't a good way to deal with this. And like, while it's cathartic to watch her kill people that are leaving these awful comments, there's very much a aspect of this movie that's kind of like, good for her. Mm-hmm. While it is cathartic or whatever, at the end of the day, she is silencing people despite being an advocate for free speech. So it's I love this movie because it doesn't 100% go with either perspective. It kind of tries to balance between multiple perspectives.
Yeah, the one thing that it is very generally very solid on, is that people who post this kind of vitriol on the internet are either hateful, pathetic, or both.
Yes. It obviously has zero high opinions on people that leave hate comments and stuff like that. So that's very clear. The thing that it's definitely like exploring though is how do you deal with that? You know?
Yeah. As
both a person who is receiving the comments and as someone in an authority to do something about it. Because it goes through the whole motions that at this point, if you're not clued in to internet stuff and like what people who've had to deal with this kind of hate mob have had to do, then you're probably not going to be aware of it. But the movie very much explores how like going to the police doesn't help. Like they just kind of laugh at you and tell you.
Basically, if you're over 60, you might not be able to relate to this.
You know, everyone always says like, oh, if you feel like you're being harassed and people are sending you death threats, then why don't you go to the cops? So she goes to the cops, and then you end up with the whole like, well, why don't you just unplug your phone? Why don't you just, you know, not go online or whatever? And it's like, okay, that's great, you know, until someone swats you. You know? Like, you know? And for those of you who don't know what swatting is where you basically, you've told You've called the local police wherever the person you're harassing is, and you've told them that person is holding someone hostage.
Yeah.
And what this will do, at least in America, in other countries it might be a little bit different, but
in other countries it's less extreme, but in America,
like what happens to her is less extreme. But
Basically, a couple cops show up at the door, start asking questions.
But in America, what ends up happening with the swattings a lot of the time is the SWAT team will arrive with guns drawn and basically storm into the house.
Yeah, and sometimes people get killed.
And people get killed in the process. This happened once, I forget what state it was, but someone got swatted over a fucking like Call of Duty video game. And the cops went to the wrong house and ended up killing somebody who wasn't even involved. It wasn't even the right person.
Yep.
You know?
Oops, wrong house.
So like it's one of those things where just turning off the internet is not necessarily going to solve the problem if they're willing to go to that length.
Yeah.
Like and it can be truly dangerous.
And the other problem is this, which the movie also mentions. How do you get away from the internet?
Oh yeah. Because like even if you are avoiding it yourself, people will tell you about it, you know? You know, people will show you, oh, hey, look at this funny meme right here. Wait, that meme's making fun of me. Like, you know?
That meme's making fun of me. Like, oh, you should get away from the internet. Oh, I got an idea. Why don't I just get away from plumbing and electricity while I'm at it? You know?
So on that level, as someone who makes content online, it was very cathartic for me to watch her take this turn and go down this serial killer path and just hunt down these pieces of shit and, you know, confront them. Watch them shit their pants or piss their pants or what the fuck ever. And then, you know, fucking brutally murder them in some graphic way.
Right.
Very fucking cathartic. But I also appreciated how, like, the movie makes it also clear that that's not necessarily the answer. But the movie also makes it clear that, well, what else do you got? You know,
what else is there?
What other recourse have you given us? You know?
Yeah, there's what can you do?
But it also explores what happens to the person who decides to go down that path. What happens to them mentally?
Yeah.
Because this is also very much a psychological horror movie, you know, kind of like a Maniac or something like that, where you're exploring the psychosis of the person who's doing the killing. And it's very obvious this is not doing good things for her mentally.
Yeah.
She might be having good outcomes, like oh hey, it motivates her to write the next chapter of her novel.
Like every time she has writer's block when she kills an internet troll, she gets her voice back, which I thought was kind of a neat little
it motivates her to write and shit. Metaphor. Yeah, it's really great. It motivates her to write again. She can hear her own thoughts again. She can create again. Now that she doesn't have that fucking chip on her shoulder. But also by the end of the movie, without getting into spoilers yet, she's very much not the person she started off as, and I don't know whether the person she is now is a good thing. You know, like the person she is now doesn't have a good relationship with her daughter anymore. Like the person that she is now,
she's destroyed it.
The person that she is now does not have the loving relationship she used to have. Like she has become just as monstrous as some of the people she was trying to go after. You know, it's very much kind of like a Death Wish kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, by the end of like a Death Wish story, like the Death Wish killer person has now become just as monstrous as the people that they were getting revenge on. And it kind of has a little bit of that too, that little bit of revenge story element to it. And I like that this movie doesn't give you any clear answers, but does a good job of exploring all these little dimensions. You know? It's a movie that's not black and white, but it is hilarious. I'll give it that. Even though we're talking about heavy shit right now, I do not want it to be lost on you that it is 100% a black comedy.
It is extremely sarcastic and funny.
Oh yeah. You know? And bitter as all hell. You know, like this felt like it was written by someone who either has been through the mob or seen someone go through the mob and was tired of it.
Yeah, because it's really bizarre because, like, one of the things that was like interesting about the movie is that it will not do anything to change your opinion on internet trolls.
No, it won't.
You know, that's one thing it doesn't touch. It's one of those like, oh yeah, no, people do that are fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Of course they are.
Yeah.
You know, like
they're pathetic people.
Who fucking just writes, I hope this person gets, anally raped
or something like that
in front of their own kid
Yeah. Or that the kid gets anal earrings.
Or the kid, yeah. Who does that?
Yeah.
You know, like who puts that up for the public to see?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like that's like a private. A normal person goes like, "That's a private dark thought. If I write it down, it was in a journal and no one was supposed to look."
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but
in my journal on my darkest days.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. When the day that my girlfriend left me and my dog died, my heart broke down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but that's not something you're supposed to put up for just like people to fucking see.
No.
Who does that?
Yeah, exactly.
And the answer is no one great.
Very pathetic people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Very much so. So yeah, I feel like if you're a person who has either been through that kind of experience or witnessed people go through that experience or has just existed as a woman online, then you're going to get something out of this movie. I think this movie will have something for you.
Yeah.
It definitely has a very bleak direction it goes in. But it's a very bitter, bleak direction that I get why.
Oh, yeah. Like, there was no way this was not going to be either bleak or sarcastic.
Yes.
You know, like, just given the subject matter.
It kind of feels like a Bobcat Goldthwait kind of movie. You know, like how he'll do these movies that have like these social commentaries, but are underlyingly very sarcastic and dark and like. Yeah. It feels like that. You know?
Like that one joke he told once where it was like, so I'm watching this fucking football game and a kid like fucking rams his head up against the fucking field goal, crushes his own skull in and dies. But wait, it gets funnier.
Yeah, exactly. Or like his movie God Bless America that he directed a few years back.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you gotta watch that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That. It's very much one of those like it's that sense of humor throughout the entire thing. And it's very much a social commentary about America and its love relationship with guns.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it very much feels like that kind of movie, but a horror movie, you know? Yeah, so I'm not sure what more to say without getting into spoilers. We watched this movie through Shudder. I'm pretty sure it's available through other platforms, but only to rent. Shudder's the one where if you're subscribed, it's there for you to watch.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend you get Shudder and go check it out for yourself. But if not, you can probably rent it for like $5 on one of the other platforms, and it'll be fine. Is there a dead animal in this movie? I don't recall.
I don't think so. I don't recall.
Just a whole bunch of dead, pathetic...
bunch of dead people.
Yeah, dead, pathetic pieces of shit, basically. Yep. So yeah, The Columnist, it gets a 2 thumbs up from me. It is a riot-a-minute, dark-ass movie, but one that has a lot to say. And I think you should listen, because it's important.
It'll feel good to know that you were heard.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers.
What to spoil? Okay. The sequence where she's killing the old guy, which is interspersed with that whole speech that she wrote about freedom of speech.
Yeah, and the importance of us maintaining freedom of speech. And that you're allowed to say anything. And like the speech is literally like insulting people in the audience. Well, the insulting people of power in the audience. Like the principal and stuff like that. I love that scene because the juxtaposition of her stressing the importance of freedom of speech with her silencing this guy.
Yeah.
Even though the guy fucking deserves it.
Yeah, no, the guy is a fucking piece of shit.
Like, that guy is just a misogynistic asshole. Which, by the way, I like that apparently even the Dutch and America have the same stereotype of the conservative old guy with the guns and the, like, animal trophies.
Yeah.
Like, apparently that's just a thing across cultures.
A thing. Well, I mean, you gotta think about it. It's so fucking... No, the fucking shoe fits on that one.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what else to say. I've never met a person who's really, really, really big into hunting. And I don't mean like has gone hunting.
Yeah.
I mean is like into it where they took trophies and all that shit that wasn't, just some kind of asshole.
I've definitely known a lot of those. I maybe know like one or two people who were just full on hunters and they got trophies and they're just that person that taxidermies animals or whatever.
Yeah,
who's not a complete piece of shit, but like I know what you're talking about. I know the stereotype.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that feels like the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah.
And
in America you deal with a lot of those people.
Oh God. Like if you grew up in America and you didn't grow up in a city, multiple people like this.
I understand people, like the thing for me is that people that like were hunting as part of their lifestyle, I get that, fine.
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But there's a certain type of conservative, most likely male in America.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a girl.
Yeah.
But most likely male. Where their hunting rifles is their entire personality.
Oh yeah. Well, because like everyone else was doing it because it was a matter of life. Because back in ye old days, it was normal because you were just like, well, I mean, gotta eat.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't like killing animals. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about like a place like America or Germany in the modern era, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Like that's a little odd. It definitely sets you apart from other people. And because anyone else who was just sort of like, they did it out of necessity, they'd stop if it's not a necessity.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
So the only people who do it now, it's totally because of ego.
Yeah.
There's no other reason to do it.
A lot of the time. Like maybe there's something that you're doing it for, because like I know some people that like they go hunting and for whatever reason it just makes them feel alive.
Yeah. But that's still still an egocentric reason to do something.
True.
Whether or not they handle it in a good way or a bad way, it's still about you.
I do get the needing to learn, like the type of person who just needs to learn how to live on their own.
Yeah,
like how to survive on their own. Not that there's never necessarily going to be a requirement for it in your life, but the person who's willing to like be that prepared, but that preparedness is not their entire personality. If you know what I mean.
Well, how to put it? I've known people who legitimately lived in the wilderness.
Exactly.
They built their own home, and they live off the land as much as they can. That's a slightly different situation.
Yeah. Well, I kind of respect that.
Yeah. That's a lot easier to respect because like they're not coming home to a modern house at the end of the day.
That was the thing about the character in the movie was that they were very much a trophy hunter.
Oh yeah,
and it's very obvious.
Oh yeah,
and you're just like, okay, so there's one rich old trophy hunter guy who spends his time degrading women online. All right, I know your type.
Yeah. Because the gun really has. The gun has replaced his penis.
Yeah.
What else has he got?
I do love that, like any good horror movie, eventually the woman acquires the weapon of choice of the person and uses it against them. So eventually that gun becomes her penis.
Yeah.
But anyway, like,
so if you want answers to this dilemma, you're not going to find them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a really, really, really amusing and thought-provoking meditation on the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's not a movie here to answer or solve the problem.
Yeah, because
but it is a movie exploring the psychological effects of the problem.
Yes.
While also being hilarious.
Yeah. Because it is an inherently funny premise.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's just something hilarious about watching someone like get irritated at their neighbor who they know is a misogynistic, racist, and a anti-Semitic piece of shit, and just push them off the roof, and then go back to riding all happily because now they can ride again because the construction the neighbor was doing is no longer happening.
Yeah. What fucking pissed me off the most about that guy is that he's being like fucking anti-Semitic with a smile.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, oh, you piece of fucking shit.
The racism comes in because, okay, so the Dutch have this tradition called Black Pete. if you've seen the movie, was it Saint?
Saint.
Yeah, was it called Saint? Which was a killer Santa Claus movie. That movie had featured a bunch of Black Petes in it. Black Pete is basically a helper of Santa Claus, or at least
he's a Dutch helper of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Point is, he's black, as in shaft in Africa black,
and he's usually presented, because most people in Holland and the Netherlands
he's presented in blackface
are white. They're usually presented in blackface, and the character is usually drawn as a very much a caricature of black people.
Yeah.
So this is very much
you're like, whoa, that looks like all minstrel show racism.
Yeah. So from an American perspective, I look at that and I go, that's fucked up.
That's fucked.
Apparently, there are people in Holland and the Netherlands that do agree with that, and the main character of this movie is one of them, and wrote an article about how problematic and fucked up Black Pete is. We know that this is the reason the neighbor has gone online and written shitty things about her, and we later see him
in the Black Pete outfit and makeup.
So we know that he is not only misogynist from the way he talks about her. We know that he is racist because of the Black Pete situation and because of the ham situation.
Yeah,
we know he's anti-Semitic.
Yeah, because it turns out the main character is also Jewish, which is very subtle.
But he's doing it all with a smile because he's such a nice neighbor
guy.
You know? And you're just like, oh, fuck you,
fuck you.
It's so cathartic to watch her push him off the roof.
The one murder that happened where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Was she breaks into this guy's house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Guy comes out. She threatens him. And then he just turns his back to her after insulting her. I'm like, did you think she wasn't going to do something? She already broke in your house. She didn't do that to say hello.
Basically, it's a guy that's so misogynistic, he's not even afraid of the woman that just broke into his house.
Like, that motherfucker. Like, how fucking brain dead is what you are.
So naturally, she chokes him out and beats him over the head with a frying pan, and then, cuts off his finger. Because one of the things about her serial killer trademark is she cuts off the middle fingers of all the men she kills. And it's mainly men, because they're mainly the people that are telling her.
Yeah, I don't think she kills a single woman.
No, I don't think so either. Because the stuff that she talks about, by and large, are like women's issues, so she rarely gets women hate. But there is some women she deals with in the story. For example, there's her one friend who keeps like belittling the things she writes and stuff like that. Yeah. She doesn't ever kill her. But
you can tell that it's a contributing factor.
Yeah, you can tell that it's one of the contentions that leads to her having the falling down that she has.
Right.
But she takes their middle fingers and she keeps them as trophies. So she herself has basically become a trophy hunter, which kind of ties into the guy who's a trophy hunter too, because she now has her own trophies. Her trophies are the middle fingers of all the guys who have belittled her online.
So, like, killing this guy who represents the patriarch.
Yeah.
She's also killing herself.
Yeah. She is becoming the very thing
that she has a problem with. Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever say it, but I am assuming that she wrote some sort of article about hunting or whatever, and that's why this guy hates her.
Most likely. Because it's not hard to imagine that.
Yeah, who knows? But I like it because you're watching, it's very cathartic, but you're also recognizing how much that catharsis is damaging her.
Yeah.
Especially her relationship with her daughter, because by the end of it, her daughter like goes and lives off with the dad.
Yeah. Daughter just checks out.
Because there's a point when she straight up misses her daughter's big night where she's doing her big push for freedom of speech at her school, and her mom decides not to show up because she's going to go hunt down this one guy
and kill him. Yeah.
And that's when you get that great juxtaposition of her speech that she wrote that her daughter's reading off and her silencing the guy by shooting him.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. It's really well done. This movie kind of does fall into the same category of political commentary / satire as Werewolves Within and oh god, what was that? The Hunt, I think it was called. That came.
The Hunt.
It was. I think it was that It was that movie that came out a few years ago that Trump got really mad at, and then it got...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Where it's a political satire that's not necessarily taking a side, even though it kind of does sit on one side, like more so than the other.
Because it's basically there's a point at which you go, a racist is a piece of shit at the end of the day.
It has a perspective, but it's also acknowledging the problems from all the angles. And and it kind of sits in that same category as those two movies in terms of horror movies.
Yeah.
So if you like those two movies, I definitely recommend checking out The Columnist, because it's like that. It just also happens to have like a big dose of hilarious catharsis. I love when she confronts the guy in the bathtub. Yes. And he just immediately caves, like, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say anything. Like, before she says anything, she knows immediately why she's there. And it's just like, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say anything. I was just joking. I'll be a better person. I'll stop using Twitter. I'm a nice guy. Please ask anyone I know. And the funny thing is, as the movie shows, these people might be nice guys in their real life. Yeah. But that doesn't mean they're not ruining other people's lives in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and then she just drops his laptop in the fucking tub and he just electrifies. It's great.
Well, like, I always live by this thing online, which is for the most part, never say something to someone online that you wouldn't say directly to your face.
That's a good policy,
I've still gotten in trouble. But I've still gotten in
to be fair,
trouble.
You'd say things to people's faces that most people wouldn't.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. I don't like you. I think you're a small penis having piece of shit. And if you got a problem with that, I'll meet you outside. If not, just sit here and cry and think about your life.
One of the most surprising elements of this movie that I really liked is there's this other character named Stephen Death.
Oh, yes.
Stephen Death is a horror novelist. And at the beginning of the movie, he's presented as someone that she's in conflict with, because at the beginning of the movie, they're both on this like talk show on TV talking about toxicity online and the need to do something about the toxicity and all that stuff. And he's basically the guy who's coming into, free speech, this is just censorship. Yeah. This is just, we can't be doing this or whatever. She's not necessarily promoting censorship, but he's kind of like playing it like she is. Later on in the movie, those two characters end up confronting each other again at like a book signing. Not his book signing, a different person's book.
Yeah.
Because they're basically there to support one of their other colleagues. Because they're both novelists. And he basically reveals that like he didn't mean any of the shit on that show. Like he was just selling his book. And so he's very cynical about TV appearances and plays it like a game. You know? He wasn't doing it as an excuse, but he's just making it clear that's what was going on.
Yeah. He's very clear about it. He's like, I'm not looking for you to forgive me.
I'm just letting you know that's what happened. Like I was just there to sell a book. The things you were saying are not a problem. I'm very cynical about this stuff,
Yeah.
And she and him end up hooking up and then becoming boyfriend and girlfriend over the course of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really good, touching relationship.
Yeah,
and like
it's a good relationship.
He's very supportive. Like they write together, and like he's constantly like getting her to not look at the hate comments and stuff like that. And he's like bringing her tea and stuff. It's a very touching, loving relationship. And the more you get to know him, this character that you thought you were going to hate at the beginning of the movie, he became like my favorite character by the end of it.
Because he's got all they did it on purpose, because they made him look like what everyone would expect like an edgelord to look like.
Well, yeah, he looks like someone who worships Anton LaVey. Yeah, that's what he looks like. Like he looks like someone who like looked at Anton LaVey and I'm like, I want to be that guy.
Exactly.
That's what he looks like. But he gets humanized as the movie goes on. Like you get this nice little moment where it's just like, my mom does my nails because my hands shake too much. So every time I go to do a show, like it's a visit to my mom, which is a great excuse to go see her. So you're like, okay,
So he's like this really, he's actually this really genuine guy.
He just happens to write horror novels, and he was asked to be on that show to promote his book and to defend censorship, so that's to defend freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So he did, even though that's not what she was arguing, but that at the end of the day is how the show framed it. So which also happens a lot, where a creator has a very particular perspective, then they get brought on a talk show with a different premise than their actual perspective, but it's treated like their perspective, and it becomes this.
Yeah.
It becomes this really wonky. I've seen that happen a couple times, and it's just.
Well, it's just like the internet. Hate comments on the internet are something fairly recent.
Yeah.
In the development of human society.
Oh yeah.
Like it's happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
For that matter.
Like she wasn't even calling for censorship. She was just asking for us to be nice to each other.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
But it was treated like she was calling for censorship, you know?
Yeah. And the question is constantly asked, why can't we be nice to each other? And the reality is, some people just aren't.
Some people aren't, and sometimes there are topics where it's impossible to be.
Yeah.
You know, you can do your best.
It's too touchy.
It's too heated. You know?
It's too touchy. People aren't going to be nice about it.
Exactly.
You know,
especially if it gets to one where lives are on the line. Now, none of the situations in this movie are situations where the lives actually are on the line. All the hate comments are just literally people mad that she wrote about Black Pete, or mad that she said that we should be nice to each other, or mad that she wrote an article about liking hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled
eggs or something,
which was actually really cute because she was inspired by Steven, because he was
they're by their breakfast together,
because one of Steven's character traits is that he really likes cooking, and he like makes these soft-boiled eggs, and it's really adorable. Like, you really grow to like Steven. Steven kind of becomes this like voice of reason as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
Even though he has his faults, like there's a point in which she gives up the internet, and he makes the mistake of showing her one of the comments that she got, and it's just like, no, you're the one who keep telling her not to look at that. Don't show it to her now. But he kind of becomes the voice of reason by the end of the movie. He's essentially the character that she has her "how did I become the bad guy" moment to.
Yeah.
You know? Because by the end of the movie, the ultimate culmination of this is her tracking down the ultimate troll that's been fucking her over this entire time. Kind of like the leader who every time they post, the hate mob comes after her.
Yeah.
This happens online a lot. Like, you see it with a lot of like YouTube and streamers, where you have YouTubers or streamers that are really popular, and they do some sort of content, like they stream someone's video, or they talk about their video in another video. And that person all of a sudden gets harassed by that person's fan base.
Or your Kiwi farm.
Exactly. Or Kiwi farms or places like that. And this guy is one of those kind of people, but he's very anonymous. No one knows what his real name is or who he is.
Right.
Unlike a lot of the other people she's been able to track down, she was not able to track down who this guy is. She's able to track him down by the end of the movie, and at this point, she's just kind of gone completely off the deep end because she's been tracking this guy for like 2 years, I think, movie time now.
Something like that, yeah.
It's been something like 2 years or so, because we go through the entire process of her writing the book, and like by this point, she's at like the launch of the book.
Yeah.
So it's already gone through like all the pre-publishing and all that stuff.
And she's racked up quite a body count.
She's racked up a huge body count. We see it by all the fingers that the daughter discovers later, because the daughter throughout this starts suspecting that, because she finds the bloody instruments that she used to do a bunch of killings, and she suspects Steven is the killer because he's the horror novelist in the new part of their life. She eventually realizes it's her mom, but that's so the mom tracks down the ultimate troll. A guy opens the door, immediately shoots the guy, then finds out that that wasn't the troll. That was the troll's dad, and the troll is a kid.
Yeah.
And confronts the kid, and it's basically that scene in Falling Down, like, when did I become the bad guy?
Yeah.
You know? Steven ends up shows up because Steven figures out what's been going on this entire time and tries to stop her from killing the kid. But unfortunately, him interrupting her causes the kid to get shot.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point, once he's shot, she basically snaps again, but snaps in he deserved it.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm doing is right, and everyone else is wrong. And so she has the moment with Steven where Steven's just like, what have you done? And she's like, he deserved it. It's like, no one deserves that. What are you what are you talking about? You can't look what you've become or whatever. And then like,
yeah, you fucking killed someone's dad, and then him over internet comments.
Yeah. And then she's like, are you taking his side? And I love that.
Yeah.
Because that's what the internet does with everything. Makes it about sides.
Yeah.
And she's now become that person on the other end. She's now the person who's like, there's two sides, you're either with me or against me. She's become that person. You know? And he's like, there's no There's no sides. Like, this, what the fuck?
You're just not supposed to murder people.
And then she raises the gun at him, and then next time we see her, she's covered in blood.
Yeah.
So we know that she shot him. And the voice of reason was just put down. And then what I love about it is that he ended up in the position she was in at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And he got shot for it.
Yep. Yep.
And what I like about it is it shows how this system we've created of the way we interact with each other online just turns us into worse people by the end of it.
Yeah.
We all become monsters by the end of it. No one's safe from it.
Yeah, you have to get off that trip.
Yeah.
You have to get off that trip, and
you're either a victim or a monster by the end of it, and there's no other option.
Yeah, because that's the way everything's seen. And that's the way everyone deals with everything, because that's what everyone wants, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, I think, the dark truth is that so many people want that.
Yeah.
They want that because it brings clarity.
Yeah.
It makes things easy to deal with. It is easier to believe that someone else is just an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah.
Than deal with the fact that they can be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But still deserve to live.
And a really cool example of how this movie is not being 100% myopic about its position or anything, and that it's actually like considering a whole bunch of perspectives, is even though she's our main character and we're following her and we empathize with her and everything that she's going through, she is flawed. There's a great scene in which she very much judges Stephen for writing horror stories.
Yeah.
You know, because she's that type of feminist that looks down on horror stories and thinks it's degrading to women and that it's just putting bad thoughts in people's minds and making them violent. You know, his perspective is that no, like people kind of have these thoughts either way. I give people an outlet in order to, you know, explore these ideas, you know, and to learn something about yourself and all that stuff, as a good story does, you know. And I like this scene because we're watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
And even though the main character is kind of our main perspective and she's the one we empathize with and we're kind of with her for most of the movie, in that scene you're kind of seeing the flaw of her perspective right there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. It was really good.
You know?
Like I'm also personally,
and also of the two of them, who became a serial killer? All I'm saying.
Yeah. Personally, me, like there is one point that I actually disagree with that he said, but it's
yeah, go for it.
It's but it's a personal thing, which is I don't believe it's about outlet. I believe that what it is really about is about mastering feeling. You know,
that makes sense.
You're uncomfortable. You still want to behave in a way that you expect yourself to behave.
Yeah.
Confronted by that intense feeling.
Makes sense.
You know, fear, anger, like blind rage.
Yeah.
And if you just go into denial about it, that shit gets free reign.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, the fucking the little Jiminy Cricket is like just fucked off.
Yeah.
So I can just do whatever the fuck I want and they won't even notice.
That's how you end up with a bunch of like these QAnon types. Right?
Exactly.
You know, these people that are in so denial about all these things and so unself-aware.
Yeah.
You know, that like they just becomes completely lost.
It's,
you know?
Yeah.
They also become great for the Pied Piper, right? You know?
Yeah. It becomes fucking okay to say hang Mike Pence over delivering an election result, a legal election result.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what? We're defending democracy. What? Yeah. What?
I also like that even though this was a Dutch movie, I still related to it on a political level.
Oh, very
for
much
stuff
so.
That's happening in America, because it's very clear that this is not just a America-centered problem. This is a global problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, the internet is a global thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Turns out, hate comments kind of universal.
I also liked a couple things that it did that was just so true to life. The fact that the hate mob eventually tried to spin it as that she's a pedophile.
Yes.
Which happens online all the time.
That happens constantly.
I think it was like Hank Green or one of the Green brothers, one of the Vlog brothers. The one who writes the novels.
I think that's angry.
Yeah. There was a point in which the hate mob against him decided that he was a pedophile just because he wrote young adult novels.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's just like, and that's great. Like the internet does that. It will just all of a sudden just make shit up.
Yeah, it will. You know? It will take this weird. How to put it, man? It's one of those like, oh my god! Literally, the example in this is that she was like 18 and she had sex with a 15-year-old guy.
It was 19, and they think it's 15 because they keep saying it, but in the article it was 16, which I believe the age of consent is on that cusp. Where they live in Holland. I'm pretty sure it was 16.
Yeah, but it's like, but pedophilia, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what?
They tried to spin it into this pedophilia thing because of an old article she wrote about her being 19 and dating a 16-year-old. Which, I mean, that's weird from an American perspective, but not so much in Holland.
Yeah, but I think the idea of like spinning that into pedophilia is still like kind of weird.
It is weird.
You 100%. Know, like you're like, really? Like you're not going to bring up? You don't got something juicier? But I don't know, they were 30 and they fucked a 12-year-old.
But I also like that the Pied Piper at the center of all that turned out to just be a fucking kid.
Yeah.
You know, because how much of these hate mobs online are composed of actual fucking children?
Oh, yeah.
That have just been radicalized by...
Yeah. You just get like... They get a little too much attention for the exact wrong reason.
Exactly.
You know, they got that taste of power.
Yeah.
You know, and they find that they like it and they don't know what to do with it, so they just keep doing shitty things with it because the shitty thing is the thing that got them the power to begin with.
The final thing I want to talk about is I really love the absolute ending of the movie, which is this super fucking bitter, good for her scene.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else to call it other than it's a good for her ending.
Yeah.
You know, where she's going to the book signing, she's covered in Steven's blood. And the blood on her white suit that she's wearing just looks like it's part of the promotional material for the book that she's writing, because the book she's got has like a tampon.
Has a similar cover.
It has like a bloody tampon on it or something like
that.
Like, so she like goes up and everyone's drinking Bloody Marys. And she takes like the Bloody Mary, gets up on the steps, has her book, and just kind of like toasts the audience. And it's that scene of like, she won, but at what cost?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the movie just kind of ends there.
The movie just kind of ends there. It's very dark and bitter, but I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good movie.
I highly recommend The Columnist. Like I said, we watched it on Shudder. I'm pretty sure you can rent it on other platforms too, so just pick your poison and enjoy. And with that said, any last thoughts you have on
movie? Like, how to put it, man? Sometimes the real answer is radical acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Hate is gonna hate. Can't stop it.
True.
Can't stop it. It's gonna happen. Somebody out there fucking hates you.
Well, it is why at the end of the day, Steven was healthier than she was. Because even though like he got hate comments too, not to the extent that she
not nearly the extent.
But he very much had a very healthy attitude of like, haters gonna hate.
Right? Yeah. Because
that being said, who knows what he would have been like if he was getting the same
level. Yeah.
Like what would have happened if he was being accused of being a pedophile and like his publisher was getting hate mail trying to get him dropped from his publishing.
Yeah,
because of pedophilia accusations that weren't real.
Yeah, isn't it?
And would he have been as sane?
Yeah. The other thing that I kind of like is how how easy people, the mob loves to buy in to the idea of a woman being a pedophile under this very specific circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, because normally people are like, women can't be pedophiles, blah 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 blah. But under this circumstance and internet hate comments, that's where everyone buys it.
That's where they all of a sudden buy it. Whereas every time a teacher is exposed as being like a pedophile, it's always a huge shocker. Like,
oh my god,
we would never have guessed this or whatever.
Grown women abuse little boys sexually.
It's because the way people interact online a lot of the time is it's their teams, right?
Yeah.
And once they've determined that they're team this and anti-team that, they're willing to do anything towards that other team.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah, I'm actually of the opinion that internet groups suck.
They do.
They suck. Like
not wrong. Not wrong. It's why I have a huge problem with a lot of fandoms, because a lot of fandoms operate that way.
Well, it's like back in the old days when fandoms were people that you had to actually like kind of meet, at one level or another. Internet wasn't always involved, but still something. Like you could call those people your friends. How many people from an internet fandom would you say you would count as your friends?
I don't know.
Because for me, it's like 0.
Yeah.
Like I know everyone else through other stuff, and we just happen to we share the things that we like.
Yeah.
Which is what the fandom is ostensibly supposed to facilitate.
Yeah.
But now it often feels like it just gets in the goddamn way.
I know what you mean.
I
know exactly what you mean.
It's like it's like the interconnection is simultaneously too shallow and cuts too deep.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's one of those weird
You're
things.
spitting truth, my friend.
Yeah.
Spitting truth. Straight up truth.
Down from the ground.
And with that said, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at Counting Jack. You can find me on Instagram at Satanic Jackula. And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch. You can find me on Twitch. Twitching your twats. Count_Jackula, where I stream twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on November 30th will be the last session of Babylon Rising, or rather this particular adventure. We will most likely come back sometime in 2022 with
Absolutely.
that.
It's an adventure in the game that he and his team are developing. So.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And if you want to follow the company, that is Babylon Game.
Yep. There you go.
All right. And what about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, then be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, then even $1 a month can go a long way. And do you have a good hashtag idea for...
Look, the only hashtag idea I have for this is radical acceptance.
Hashtag
radical acceptance.
All right, if you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to work into your comment below, and be sure to comment below the hashtag radical acceptance. Work it in however you please, and that way I know that you watch this vlog all the way through. All the way through. God damn it. We've been doing 2 vlogs and my voice is starting to get mad at me. We're going to do one more vlog after this, so just stay tuned. That you watch this vlog all the way through. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, we're going to go record our next vlog, and peace out.